Hi and welcome to InFocus. This is Jabbar Al-Obaidi coming from Bridgewater Cable TV. In this episode, actually, we are collaborating with the communication department at Bridgewater State University. To this episode, coming to you actually from three countries. That's from our own country, US, because I have Dr. Brian Frederick. He is professor of political science and also the interim or / acting chair of the Department of Psychology at Bridgewater State University. Dr. Khalid Shukran, he is actually the chief editor of Al-Ra'i newspaper, which is the largest newspaper in Amman, Jordan. Also, I have Mr. Hani Hazaima, who is a well-known journalist in the Arab world and around really the world, and he Arab news. And now the office is actually in Amman. George Isa, who is a journalist at Nahar newspaper, which is Arabic newspaper in Beirut, Lebanon, one of the largest and most popular. And also we have really a nice addition coming from the Middle East. That's Jimmy Michel Happes. He is the CEO of this, an entrepreneur working for digital media. Now, this is the war, as I said, this is the 28th of February between Iran on one side, the United States and Israel on the other side, and all of us asking questions about, the end game of this war, and also hoping for probably a somewhat a peaceful solution for this long conflict. I want to start with the professor. So tell me, what's your projection on this war since it started, and what is going in terms of the purpose, and do you have any concerns about that in short statement?
Yes, so war is always an unpredictable phenomenon. I think President Trump believed that this was going to be a very quick war, in part because of the recent intervention in Venezuela and how smooth that was. I think that perhaps clouded his perception in relation to how easily these types of situations can be militarily resolved. But obviously, I think he underestimated the resolve of the Iranian regime to stay in power. They believe that they are in a situation where they face an existential threat to their regime remaining in power. And when you have that kind of situation, the willingness to fight and to do what is necessary to maintain their grip on power has caused them to devise a plan that would be ready for the next time the United States and Israel would come after them. And I think to the president's dismay, things haven't unfolded like he's wanted to. And I think we're now in a situation where this conflict is going to last quite a lot longer than most analysts originally presumed.
Okay, Dr. Khalid Shukran, how you read the situation now?
Thank you, Dr. Jabbar. I think the situation here in the Middle East it's very difficult. Israel and the United States start this war, and nobody knows here in the Middle East at what time we can see the war stop. The situation very difficult because Iran trying to approve itself, and also Israel do same that. Iran attack many countries through the region. Attack Arab Gulf states, and also attacked Jordan, attacked Turkey, attacked many countries through Middle East to make the war more wide. I think there is nobody know at what time we will see this war to get to the end.
Okay.
That's the situation in this moment in Middle East.
So, Mr. Hani Hazaima, why Iran actually attack, especially the Arab Gulf states?
Let me first start by saying this. This conflict did not emerge organically. It reflects a convergence of US and Israeli strategic decisions. However, there is a growing perception across the region that Israel's security doctrine is setting the pace, while Washington is aligning closely behind it. That perception is critical because it raises questions about whether the US policy is being independent shaped or increasingly influenced by the priorities of its ally. Now, equally concerning is the absence of meaningful consultation with the Middle Eastern countries. These are states most exposed to the immediate consequences of the escalation, yet they were largely sidelined in the decision-making process. This reinforces a persistent grievances in the region, that its security is too often shaped externally without its participation. Such an approach not only undermines trust, but also weakens the legitimacy and sustainability of any resulting strategy. Now, the timing of this escalation is particularly significant because diplomatic negotiations between Washington and Tehran were still ongoing, with mediation efforts taking place in Oman. Regional actors were actively supporting these efforts, viewing them as a viable pathway toward de-escalation. The abrupt shift to military action suggests that diplomacy was not allowed to fully run its course, an outcome that aligns with Israel's long-standing skepticism toward engagement with Iran. Now, with regards to your question about the end game and how should this end, this is quite interesting. Well, I have to mention something. I'm sorry about this. I have to mention something. That what happened in Iraq in 2003 should still guide decision-making today. The war was justified by intelligence that later proved to be wrong, and the region paid the price for years. I'm not saying Iran is the same case, but the pattern is concerning. Diplomatic talks were ongoing, yet military escalation took precedence. That's exactly how strategic miscalculations happen. And the consequences are rarely contained.
Okay, I got the point. Let me go to George Isa from An-Nahar newspaper. Reflect on the situation now in Beirut, in Lebanon, and the conflict now, between the central government, and then you have the Hezbollah and then Israel. What's your assessment to that, and where it's going as well? Because you have now this real war now going on in Beirut.
First of all, thank you for your invitation. It's time. It's again Hezbollah made a decision to go to war without the Lebanese consentment, without approval from the government. I think we are in a disaster here. Hezbollah didn't think too much before launching this war. Israel battered him for over 15 months or so, and he didn't make any move since then. But after killing the supreme leader of Iran, Ali Khamenei, he went to war with the backing of the IRGC, and now the situation is very difficult on the ground. The Israelis have the air superiority, and they are they are grinding on the ground. Especially they have two main axes in Al Khiyam and in Al Taibe. Now the bulk of the war is
It's in
in those two cities.
South Lebanon?
Yes, in South Lebanon. Yes.
Okay.
The main axis of advancement in South Lebanon.
Okay, I got
Indeed.
it. Now, for Jean-Michel Hapis, what's the reaction of, I mean, you said you are actually working with the social media and the digital media. So what's the impression, what's the opinions of these different outlets based on your observation?
I mean, newspapers and publishers are facing very critical times with, I mean, the region is not used to, it's a region that is usually, many of these countries are countries that haven't been to war for a very long time. So it's very challenging times for them. On the technical front, also, they're facing a lot of cyber attacks daily, which is something quite challenging also to manage. So, yeah, I mean, it's very critical time to all the newspapers. I mean, and Nahar, for example, we know they're working around the clock to be covering everything that is happening, and Arab News the same, and so it's a lot of pressure on journalists to get the real stories and to publish information, and then you need also to be careful on which information to publish, because sometimes when you give too much information, it might get the person who is actually attacking you know more about. So you need to be careful on videos you're sharing. You need to be careful on fake videos that are generated by AI. So yeah,
Get that. So now we'll come back to the challenging question, Brian, is the Strait of Hormuz. And United States now is trying, of course, our country to control that or open it, because now, as we speak, it's closed. So what's your reading for that?
Yes, it's going to be a very difficult proposition for the American military to be able to do that. Iran is better positioned with its knowledge and with its strategic location to be able to have an upper hand there. And as time goes on, the patience of the U.S. population and its willingness of the U.S. to invest resources and support militarily to try to open up the strait is going to decline. So the more time elapses, the more it works against the Americans and the more it plays in the favor of the Iranians, and the economic costs are going to be felt by American consumers, and they're going to apply pressure to the Trump administration, and it's not playing a very strong hand right now.
Okay, so Dr. Khalid, it's the same question to you in terms of the strait.
I think it's global energy supplies are at risk in this moment, because the war is working now, and the war is everywhere here in Middle East. There's muscles across the Middle East, from Iran to Arab Gulf states to Jordan to Israel, to Turkey, and Hormuz also it's closed now. There is no supply, energy supplies to Far East or to other area in through the world. So all of us here in Middle East, we're looking forward to see the end of this war and to back to the stability.
And I would like just to go back to the core issue here about the war, and talking about the war itself. In one of your questions, you asked how to end this war. I think, sorry, your question about Iran attacking the Arab states.
Yes.
Iran's reactions, while often portrayed as defensive, have only heightened the risks. But the real responsibility lies with those who triggered the conflict in the first place. Targeting or pressuring neighboring countries under the assumption that they are complicit in U.S. or Israeli operations in reckless or and unjustified is reckless and unjustified. Many regional states have made it explicitly clear, including Jordan, that their airspace and military infrastructure will not be used by any warring party. Ignoring these clear positions is not only a breach of sovereignty. It is a deliberate push toward dragging neutral countries into a war that they had no part in creating. And I think Iran, by doing and keeping its ongoing attack of the regional countries, including my country, Jordan, the Gulf, and indirectly Lebanon, is making things worse for Iran itself before it's making it worse for other.
That's right. So now let's go. The conflict now in Lebanon again. Is there, because also there was a call to have negotiation between Israel and the central government. Where is this going now? I know if you, George or Jimmy.
Yes, sure. There was a French proposal to some kind of mediation or some kind of diplomacy on a basic level between Lebanon and Israel, but it was also for the purpose of ending the war. But I guess now Israel won't accept this proposal. Israel thinks that it has the upper hand, and she has the time to destroy or to diminish the power of Hezbollah. So I guess it will not go to diplomacy now. Not before, I don't know, 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, until it knows what will happen on Earth, on the war.
Yeah, Jimmy, just in short statement, what do you think?
Well, I think we all want peace, and this cannot continue every few years, especially in Lebanon. Every few years, we're having wars, we're having attacks. Even during ceasefires, we're being attacked every day. There's drones flying over Beirut 24/7, filming everyone and monitoring everyone. And I feel that, this is becoming too much for the Lebanese population.
So now going back to Mr. Hani, do you think changing a regime in Tehran at this point is possible, or do you think the call for uprising is also possible, or it's just like wishful thinking on all parties?
Of course, it's a wishful thinking of all parties. And I think even those who were calling for a regime change in Iran has started to change their narratives. They realize that this is a realistic thing to happen in Iran. Iran is not a small country. Iran is not like Venezuela or any other countries where the U.S. or Israel have their own agendas implemented on Iran. Iran is a big state. It has a population of 93 million people. Almost 55 or 58 are Shiite, and they are strong supporters of the regime. If the U.S. and the Israeli administration believe that changing or killing the Ayatollahs or the top leadership in Iran is going to lead to a collapse in the government, they're absolutely wrong. Okay. It doesn't work like that.
I think Israel and the United States trying to do that to change Irani government, but the situation is difficult, more than imagined.
Thank you. So they're worrying about collapsing the regime. Probably that will increase even or create more layers of conflict between regional countries, and then would be chaos.
Yeah, it could have devastating consequences if there's a failed state the size of Iran that will have reverberations throughout the region. There'll be refugees, there'll be massive economic consequences, and so I think from Israel's standpoint, they don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. They just want to topple this regime because they believe it's a threat to Israeli hegemony in the region. I think the United States might be a little bit more concerned about that because some of its allies will feel the negative consequences of a failed state in Iran. So I think that concern is very real, although I think perhaps the United States and Israel overestimated their ability to create regime change, especially if there is not going to be a commitment of U.S. ground troops. It is very difficult to overthrow a regime with air power alone. Academic research indicates that that is a very extremely difficult proposition to achieve. So we may not get to that point, but certainly expressing concerns about the aftermath, should that occur, I think is something everyone should keep their eye on.
For Lebanon, both of you, George and Jimmy.
Well, as I said before, we are all waiting now the battlefield. But I think yes, past is not prologue. Yeah, I know that all people, when they say Iran regime change in Iran, we all remember Iraq War and what happened in Iraq War. But I think that Iran today is not Iraq 2003. So yes, while I'm not fully certain that the Iranian regime will fall now, but we have also we have some signals that the Iranian people will topple their regime after the war. Now that's a possibility.
I think we should conclude with just, I want to have one statement about your reading to the day after the war has concluded.
What we need, most of us in here in the Middle East, we need to get stability. State and big states through the war to make pressure on Israel to accept two-state solution.
Doctor, the day after the war ends will not be peaceful automatically. Security, humanitarian, and political crisis will dominate the region. Even with a formal ceasefire, tensions remain extremely high, infrastructure and economies are disrupted, and the risk of renewed escalation persists. Stabilizing the situation will require rapid coordination, diplomacy, and international support, not just the absence of fighting.
I think I agree this it's going to take a lot of time for things to stabilize. And again, war is never the solution. Discussions, negotiations is what should happen. So when there's war involved, I feel that it's going to take time for things to settle, and this will affect all the region economically and financially.
So the Middle East will be more or less better.
Right.
Will be better.
I think the takeaway is, unfortunately, there will be quite a few casualties. There will be long-term negative economic consequences for the world, and ultimately a decline of U.S. power within the region.
Thank you to my guests, Brian Frederick. George is from a Nahar newspaper. Jimmy Michel Happes from digital media. and Dr. Khalid Shukran, the chief editor of Al-Ra'i newspaper, and Mr. Hani Hazaima from the Arab News. Thank you for watching InFocus, and thank you for our students here at Bridgewater State University. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week. This is Jabbar Al-Obaidi.